Hey guys, welcome back to my garden. Today's day 30 of the indoor cucumber growth, and if you haven't seen the previous episodes, please check those out. They're definitely really interesting. And you can see that the plant is doing really nice and has developed quite a bit since the last update I showed you guys. I think it's been about a week or so since I last updated you on the growth, and you can see that there's a lot of new runners here at the bottom that's kind of filling in the trellis, and all the flowers are opening up, and we have a lot of new cucumbers that are growing in. So everything is growing in nicely, and it's looking nice and lush, and for the most part the leaves are looking very healthy, except a couple of the leaves of like the older ones here or there. Now you see that the plant is definitely overgrown at this point, and it's kind of at this point it's time to clip some things up. And you could see I cut that piece off right over here because it doesn't have anywhere else that it could possibly grow, other than if I would just have to start covering up what the foliage that's already there, which will kind of be, counterproductive. It's going to kill the foliage that's behind it, and it's just going to leave the new one up top, so kind of like what's the point? So I'm just going to clip that off. We could always wait to get our first harvest, and after that we'll talk about how we're going to develop and keep this plant growth going. This is I believe this is an indeterminate what am I saying? Cucumber plant, and you could see that it just does not stop growing, guys. Everywhere I look, every single day, I definitely see new suckers that are growing. All these little runners are starting to come off, and you kind of want to clip those at this point, being that the plant it's almost gotten to the stage where it's grown in and covered up most of the trellis. So at this point, I kind of wanted to start focusing on growing the actual fruit that's produced, and I'm clipping off these like really damaged leaves, the ones that look really bad. You can see like right over here, and I clipped a couple earlier this morning, and excuse me. Now I'm pretty sure I mentioned earlier in the video, but I'll mention it again. I'm pretty sure that the leaf that's associated right next to the flower that's right next to it, kind of like grows together. So I think if the leaf is heavily damaged, the cucumber and the fruit that's growing right next to it is also not going to go anywhere, and it's most likely going to wilt away and die off. That's what I've been noticing happen here or there, as well as if you don't get like a fan or some type of like shaking going in your system, the pollination is not going to work, guys, and the fruits are going to suffer, and they're going to wilt away and die also. So I've been coming in every day, kind of several times a day also, and I grab the fan and I just kind of like let the fan do its thing for a little bit, as well as I bring the fan nice and close, and I bring it kind of like all over the place, and I make sure that the leaves that are opened up, the flowers, that they're shaking up definitely. And being that it's a self-pollinating plant, I'm not 100% sure if things need to be shaken up like a tomato or a pepper plant, but I do anyways. And you see I just showed earlier, there's 2 gallons left basically in the container. However, it's being grown with MaxiGrow, and it seems like the ratio is just really far off, guys. And it's only focusing on basically the vegetation stage right now. It's not focusing on the flowering at all, and the cucumbers are definitely not developing. So what I'm going to do is basically clip off a couple of these runners and the ends and most of these. I'm going to wait until it does grow in, like the bottom ones especially. It just has a little bit more to go before I could clip those off. And this whole plant is basically going to start focusing on developing all the cucumbers. And boy, I gotta tell you, I'm not sure how many we have, but if what I do have sticks around, I am gonna have an amazing first harvest. There's so many cucumbers on this plant right now. It is completely jam-packed, and I'm really glad that it's being grown on this metal trellis, because I think if it was using like those like nylon or like that string or anything like that, it'd probably be too heavy for this plant, and it would rip right off. So you could see what I mean by over here, where I wait till it grows in to the end before I clip it. So it kind of, you want it to fill in, at least kind of like for aesthetics as well as, maximum production. And I could kind of let it do its thing naturally without clipping it, but I'm not 100% sure, where that's going to lead, because if you kind of run out of space, and as well as I kind of intend to use the space down there for tomatoes upcoming soon, so when you're limited on space, guys, you gotta make sacrifices and clip some things here and there. And you can see the plant is doing absolutely really well, and it's looking nice and healthy. And the leaves look really good and nice and green. However, the fruits are not developing, and at this point, I need cucumbers, guys. So what we're gonna do is we're basically gonna swap out the nutrients again, and we're gonna change the NPK. I'll show you basically how we do that. So what I'm gonna do is I ordered a new pH meter. We're gonna test the pH of the water. The one that I had previously broke, so it's kind of hard to judge what's going on. I was able to test the ppm, but you know, the pH is really important, guys. If it's too low or too high, it really affects the plant, and it creates like nutrient lock, and the plant is not able to actually take in what it needs. So you see, this is the pH meter that I got. It's the Para, I think like pH 60 or something like that. I may put a link in the description bar if you guys are interested in checking it out, but I'm just showing you the one that I chose. I'm not 100% sure if it's good or not. I haven't actually used it before. I did actually calibrate it right before this video. So if you guys want to see a video about how to calibrate this unit, let me know. I'll post a video about that later. But it's really simple. That's why I kind of skipped that, and you see everything works. And if you want, you can pause the video right there. That's the instructions about how to calibrate it. And you see it's literally just 3 or 4 steps. So let's just pop open this lid and take a look at what the root system looks like. It's been a while since I've seen how it's going in there. And hopefully things are doing well. And yeah, everything looks nice and white and healthy. You see the bubbles going right there in the middle, so that's perfect. I could see a couple of the roots are kind of stuck on the side over there. Most likely those are probably dead by now. But there's so much root growth in there. It's developed so much since the last time I looked at it. So I could see that the system is doing really well. So what I'm going to do is basically, the first thing I have to do is unplug the air line here. Now that that's unplugged, I'm going to basically mix up my hydroponic fertilizer. And I'm going to be using a mixture of Master Blend, calcium nitrate, and Epsom salt. Now the reason why I'm switching it back is because I'm having a lot of problems, like I mentioned, with the developing of the fruit sizes over here. And MaxiGrow, you could see that NPK is 10,514, and the Master Blend is 41838. So you could see that the last number right over there is gravely different, guys. So this plant is basically focusing most of its energy on vegetation instead of on flowering. Unfortunately, now you could see that that's basically the largest cucumber that I have currently right now. And in relation to the other ones, it's not that much bigger. So I have my 3 gallons of prepared water over here. I poured this out earlier in the day and I let it sit for several hours. Generally you want it to sit for 24 hours, but impatient. So I'm going to be using a 2-part mixture here. It's still the same 3 ingredients, but the way that you mix it is really important, and it prevents basically nutrients from having a lot of issues, and the ppm is really different, as well as the pH changes completely in the solution here. So we'll do another video about how I mix that up completely, because that takes a little more time. So I'm basically just going to pour in first my part A, since it's a 2-part step, and you have to pour each one one step at a time. So part A is inside, and you want to make sure to get everything in there. And we're gonna mix it up basically. Now, usually when you're using like a 2-part or a 3-part step solution, you want to mix each one separately and get everything nice and mixed up before adding in the next step. So you see, this is part 2. Let's get that right in there, and same thing. Make sure you get everything inside. And one more time, mix everything up, and that's basically going to be prepared. So I showed an earlier video about how I switched the system out. Not really the cleanest of swaps to do, so I'll just do that off camera, guys. But we will definitely be testing the pH and the ppm. I'm really excited that I finally have a new pH meter, and this is supposed to be a really good one. I've been doing a lot of research and reading a lot of reviews, guys, and this one seems to be pretty good for the most part. I really like this ppm meter as well. It was super cheap too, so sometimes you don't need to spend a lot of money to get good quality. You can see that's what it looks like at the bottom. It just has these 2 little prongs that reads the water inside, and it's able to tell you how much nutrients you have basically. Now, most plants, they require different ppms, especially when they're at different stages of growth. When they're in vegetation, it requires 1 ppm. When it's in flowering, it's totally different. Usually it's much higher. So let's see what we have over here. Looks like we got just over 617, 20. It's like really changing a lot. So let's just kind of pause the video right here and fast forward, see what we get. So now that that's stabilized, it looks like it's just around 641. So that's not so bad. That's usually kind of like what I get normally when I mix up master blends. So for the most part, I generally stop checking it, since I usually get around 650, between 600 to 700 generally. And the pH looks like we have 5.8. Let's see, just kind of wiggle that around. And you know when to stop when the little smiley face appears. You can see right there is blinking. So yeah, so like a 5.8, that's really good, guys. The cucumber plant is basically right around between like a 5.5 to a 6.0. So I'm right in there. And I'm gonna pour that solution right back in there, because no sense in wasting it. Now I'm gonna have to swap this out like I mentioned. And man, that's a big headache. Big thumbs up to my friend for giving me a huge tip. I'm gonna be doing that and swapping things out earlier. I'm gonna adjust the containers a little bit and make these nutrient swaps for the future much easier, guys. Putting a little spot there at the bottom is gonna save me a huge headache. So I just gotta finish pulling that through, and look at this old solution. Not the cleanest looking, unfortunately, right now. And let's see what we got going on inside here, actually. So same thing, take a clean cup. This way you're not mixing up the numbers with the old cup that you had there. And same thing, let's check the ppm and let's check the pH as well. So let's see, turn this thing back on. We got a looks like just over 1,030, 1,040, just about that. So it's definitely a lot higher than the master blend mix, but that's not necessarily a good thing also. What is this, USA? Alright, there we go. And yeah, so you see, man, it's I'm really happy I got this pH meter. You could see that it's well below what it's supposed to be. A 4.10, 4.08, something like that. Absolutely terrible. This is exactly why the plant is suffering right now, and it's not taking in the proper nutrients, and most likely the plant is, you know, screaming for help. Unfortunately, I can't hear it. So now that that's all fixed and ready to go, I think things are going to be doing good, guys. Hit that thumbs up if you liked the episode, please. It helps me out greatly. Post messages or comments down below. As always, if you liked the episode, guys, show me the appreciation. And you can see I completely forgot to plug things back in, so let's just get that plugged in over there. And let's look at the plant one more time before we go, guys. As always, if you liked the episode, please hit that thumbs up. I'll see you guys in the next episode. Thanks for watching.